Have you ever made a business decision that felt so fun, so exciting, so good, and then it completely flopped afterwards?
Yeah.
I think all of us have. And today it's about when to make decisions from your heart and when to take a step back and think about it before you make a decision.
I think this is a very important subject. And I think if you haven't made your first 10,000 euro a month, or maybe even 15 or 20,000 euro a month, this episode is going to be wildly important for you, because the question is really, when are we navigating our decision making from an emotional place or a rational headspace? Now, there is a saying that I love that is, stay in your head, you're dead, stay in your heart, you're smart, which I 100% agree with. But when it comes to interpreting what that means, I hear a lot of different stories. You can kind of resemble emotions with a compass. And many times people are setting up rules for how they need to feel in order to take action. And there are two different rules that are pretty dangerous. The first one is, I am not going to act unless it feels good. Very dangerous. You're never going to build something you haven't built before that isn't going to feel uncomfortable to begin with, whatever it is, sales, marketing, coaching, like getting more clients, expanding your program, whatever it is, it's going to feel uncomfortable at certain times. That is okay. Please just acknowledge that first of all. So if you have a navigational system that says it needs to feel good for me to do stuff, you're going to have a hard time. And then the other part of it is that I am not going to act if it feels uncomfortable. That's the other rule. And we need to acknowledge that these are different. The one says that I'm just going to act if it feels good. And the other says I'm not going to act if it feels uncomfortable. That means that they are going to act as long as it doesn't feel uncomfortable. But the moment it feels uncomfortable, they are going to go into a paralysis mode and they are not going to make any new decisions. And more importantly, they're not going to act and move forward. So we need to look at emotions in a different way. And it ties down to values and all sorts of things. But what I really want to encourage people to do is to take a breath whenever it feels anything, and then help yourself to understand what triggered that emotion and build some emotional intelligence. Because building a business is hard enough. If you are navigating your business purely on emotion and you have rules for how you need to feel in order to move forward, you're going to add a ton of pain on your journey towards success. So what we can do instead is that we can invite some self-recognition. And we're going to talk about that, but we take a moment to acknowledge what it is that happens to you and what triggers that. So first of all, one of the biggest problems, especially amongst coaches who are looking to grow their first 10 or 20,000 euros a month, is that they navigate action taking too much on what they feel, how they feel and how they don't feel. I also know that you're more strategical. So how do you acknowledge your own emotional journey and your own kind of decision-making process, but also figuring out your strategies, how to make your next steps?
Well, it's a great question. I believe it's hard. For me, who's a very logical person, I think hard part is trusting that I understand, trusting that I know what to do, and trusting that I am making smart decisions.
I find that very interesting. Because how do you know that you can trust that strategy that you come up with?
First of all, I really can't know until I've done it and see the result of it. Secondly, for me, it's about finding people who I trust to give me what to do and understand the principles. Why would this work? It's very different today than it was a couple of years back when we started this business. It definitely changed a lot because I'm way more confident in my decision making. I think for most people, it's a balance between only trusting your gut or instinct. I believe you are controlled too much by emotions like fear or limiting beliefs that might get in the way and taking decisions. So I don't think you can 100% trust your gut feeling, especially if you're creating something you never created before. On the other hand, I also don't believe you can do like, oh, I'm not going to feel anything. I'm just going to go dead and stone cold and then just go with data, because learning the data takes time and you need to navigate what is right in getting me to the place I want to go to, because I think it's very easy to get caught up or just follow a stream until I either ask myself, what do I want to do? So I think the hard part is actually, when should I follow the stream and when should I not? So I think the answer to your question, if I look from a helicopter perspective, it's about, I use my heart to decide, how do I want to work in my business? What is my outcome in my business? What do I want to get out of that? That is a very emotional driven. And then in between, I go into logical. So how do I get from A to B the best way, the easiest way? And then I check in again to the emotions. Is there something here that feels wrong for me? Or in the macros, when I do the job, I will check into my emotions when I need it. So it's more like turn on, off.
But there is more to that I found very interesting. And let me know if it actually is applicable to you personally. But one of the things that stands out to me, trust. Do I trust this strategy to work? Without sufficient data, I mean, I'm in our business. I know how we navigate our growth. I know how we make decisions, and I know how we are testing stuff out. Mm-hmm. And when we are testing stuff out, it's game mode. It's not like we're testing it out like, let's see if it works. I'm not going to pay attention to it. And there is no try. We do it with all of our force, everything that we can muster. So we go all in when we're testing something out. But
we have an idea about what result we should expect, what data, what KPIs, what data we should get. Then we go all in, and then we get the real data.
So my point is this. When you are navigating this, because you do that very well, when you're doing this, there is an emotional attachment within you to dare to trust something you have no idea whether it will work or not. I'll give you an example that is completely different than business. Do you know, like to you who's a new listener, we're about to get married next year. Do you know that I will stay faithful to you throughout our life? Do you know that?
I cannot 100% know that.
Of course
I will
not.
trust it. I make a decision to trust it.
What makes it possible for you to trust that? Because you can't see into the future. You're taking a huge risk trusting another human being with that kind of thing. Yeah. So how can you do that?
Well, I put my trust in that I believe I know you not enough to know that you wouldn't. And I put my trust in that we will figure it out.
Yeah.
During the way.
Yeah. Now here's the thing. Coming to a place of I trust that this outcome will happen the way I want it to. It takes an emotional resilience that is enough for you to dare to take that risk. And it's the same thing with a business, because that allows us to detach from any uncomfortable sensation and just dare to, like, I trust that everything will be okay on the other end. Because when we're speaking to new coaches, especially when we're talking about sales or influencing other people or actively helping people to change their mind about something to achieve a new results, I mean, I can easily understand why people are afraid. I don't want to be manipulative. I totally get that. And then we put a very negative psychological manipulation where we are foolishly blindsiding someone and actively doing something wrong. None of us are going to do that. You know, that influential kind of, I'm going to help you on this road, navigating this big thing for you, getting an outstanding outcome. Of course, there are going to be, in every client's journey, there are going to be some difficult like paths or roadblocks to face. So it takes an emotional resilience to dare to trust into the process, because it's not about finding the right way. It's about finding a way over time. And that's what we do when we're testing stuff out. The best thing about having our job is that we can test it out and give to our clients what we already know works. So that's a great benefit for us in our business and for our clients.
I really like what you said, staying consistent over time. And I think that is where it's hurtful for a lot of people, because if you're emotionally into whatever you're doing, everything is run by emotions. I think it's impossible to stay consistent, because emotions goes up and down. Your emotions are triggered by events that happens, and if you are running based 100% on emotions, I see how people are just so tired, because when it goes good, everything is good and we're happy.
Then it's fine.
It goes all the way down. It's emotionally draining. So it becomes such an emotional roller coaster. It's so draining, and I understand that. I also see when people are 100% logical and not checking into their emotions, they're also getting bored quickly, because then there's something else that grabs their attention. In order for us to stay consistent, we need to have that huge why. Why am I doing this? We need to have the passion in what I'm doing. We need to have the emotion in the decision of who I work with, how I work, and all of these big decisions. But then the macros, how will I do the thing I'm doing? That is where we cannot have it controlled by emotions. I think you said compass. The big decisions is emotional decisions on why I do this. Now we go into the small how-tos, the implementation. That is where we need to put in some logic so it will actually work, taking us from A to B.
Yeah, and this is the second time you mentioned that in this episode, and I want to emphasize and really acknowledge, because it's really the main thing. We use our emotions, creating the picture of what it is I want to achieve and why it is important to me. And then we create purpose and meaning towards bigger thing. Yeah. But we do not invest our emotions in the small steps in between, because we can't afford. Let's just say that you're going to walk from your house to the closest grocery store and you're going to buy some stuff. Yeah. Let's make it even more ridiculous. You're going to walk to your car in the parking lot outside of your house. It's a 15-second walk, but in those 15 seconds, you're going to take about 15 to 20 steps. If you were to second guess every one of those steps towards your car, you're not going to eat for a week. That's just how painful it's going to be, which means that when we're running a business, we need to do it the same way. We need to navigate it with a bigger perspective than what opinions do I have about this step I'm about to take right now. Because the emotional resilience comes in when we know enough to know why something is working and why something else isn't working. Yeah. Because then we can navigate and build our own strategy. Now, one of the things that I love with the first process that we help our clients to, which is making their first 5K months consistently, one thing that I love about it, it's that it's broken out in so many step-by-steps so that it allows our clients to navigate all the different things that are necessary in marketing and sales and in delivery as a coach. And with the knowledge of being able to build something that brings consistent results, they can apply that for whatever business. Because yes, we're using strategies, but what's more important is that we're helping them taking the right steps. But what's even more important is that we teach them why these steps are working. And the moment someone understands that this is the reason why it's working, they can build their own roadmap to create that in whatever industry that they like.
Yeah. And then the next layer to that is understanding how to troubleshoot, not emotionally, but troubleshoot logically. Because troubleshooting emotionally is a dangerous game, right?
Yeah. Okay, gotcha. I was like guessing where are you going with this?
Yeah, no, but
100%.
Because imagine you got a better result than you anticipated, but it was literally more luck than strategy. And you believe that, oh my God, I'm so good, I'm going to do this. And you start believing this was the right way to do it. And you realize, well, later on, it was not. But also the opposite. You did not get the result. You did the right stuff. Because sometimes can we do the right stuff, but still not get the result we want? It can happen. So you're doing the right stuff. You didn't get the result. And now you emotionally get to, well, it's not working. I don't like it. I don't need to do it this way. And then you follow some shiny object and start doing something else, instead of just holding it and doing it a couple of times more.
I love the first thing you said there, and I have a good example of what that can look like for a beginning coach. We have seen a lot of people before they've come to us that have done this, making a social media post. Hey, I have slots open in my calendar. Go to my webpage or go to this link and book a call because I'm available. The worst thing that can happen from a post like that is that it actually works. Because then you believe that it's working. But the reason why it's working is not because it's working on a scalable way. It's working because of chance. That is the reason. So you posted a post and you believed it started to work because you posted a calendar to like book a call. They booked a call. I talked about my stuff and they bought like 5 coaching sessions and I'm super happy. What really happens when you do that, when you sell publicly to an audience that are trying to get to know you, is that you're really doing the same thing as if you were standing on a big square in your hometown and you were kind of screaming that you're selling. People thinks you're crazy, and what's going to happen is that they're going to distance themselves from you.
So you got one client, but what you didn't see in the data, you saw the data about getting one, is that you have 100 that now like you less.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and you trust them less. You're taking care of your own needs of future sales from a perspective where you believe that you're taking care of them. Yeah. That's not what they're going to feel like. Like, I can tell you that I love you in different ways. I can tell you looking into your eyes and I can tell you I love you and you can sense that I feel it. Then it will land in you and you'll feel that I have a partner. I can also, while not looking at you, doing something else, let's say that I am watching a movie and you come in and try to say something to me, I am not taking my eyes off my movie and I say, yeah, I love you, go. It's not going to land and you're not going to feel you have a partner. That's the same way if you try to sell publicly. What you want to do instead is that you want to take care of and understand that your capability of building a business is providing value. The sales pitch is not the value. The invitation to buy my program isn't the value. But here is where so many people are doing it wrong, because they get excited about the quick fix. They get excited about the shortcut they believe they have found. I know that you spoke to a woman today that were super excited about, I'm going to create passive income. What I'm going to sell is access to a coaching platform. So I don't even need to deliver anything. I just sell the coaching platform, and every month when they're using the coaching platform, I get revenue and I get a kickback. And you were like, so, okay, cool. So what is more important? Number one, either you do this all in and you have fun while doing it without really knowing if it's going to generate any income, because you're not in control of that. You're not in control of retaining the client, making sure that they pay again and again and again. Or building a business that allows you to be in full control, where you actually have to muscle up to the responsibility. This represents a backpack with straps if you're watching this on YouTube. So you need to take on the responsibility that it takes to grow through what it takes to build a business.
Backpack of responsibility.
Well, it's a weight.
Yeah.
And responsibility is weight. Yeah. So what we want to do is we want to muscle up, and we want to make sure that we take a stand for, I'm going to be responsible solely for the outcome of this happening. And that's what it takes to start out as a starting point when it comes to commitment in running a business. All of those who are looking for shortcuts, they're literally looking for a kick of endorphins. You know, they just want that kick of, like, I'm doing something new, I'm breaking ground, I'm an entrepreneur. Like, it's more important about what it looks like I am rather than what I really am. And I've done this myself. I think I've shared this in the podcast before. The first business that I started was kind of that mistake. I was going to make 20,000 euros a month in 6 months. And in those first 6 months when I worked, I made 500 euros in total. And I didn't dare to set goals for years.
No.
That's what happened to me. So what I want to help coaches avoid is, don't look for a quick fix. Don't think that if I get a web page, people would find my web page and then they'll buy. Don't believe that, like, if you open a store web page, people will buy your stuff without you being the reason they bought. Because big names, big brands can do that. IKEA can set up a web page, or any other big brand that you like to use. They can do that because they already have a relationship where they keep influencing the market. Let's just acknowledge that you don't have a brand that is that big. So you need to do the groundbreaking work. So the thing that makes emotions easier, at least from my standpoint, is to make a deeper commitment to what it is that you're going to take a stand for in creating difference for people. Because it's so much easier getting over all that's going on inside of you when you're not focusing on you, when you're focusing on a mission.
Let me share a short story about that. Daniel, one of our amazing clients, when he started, we gave him a task. Like, we always said, like, what is the goal we're going to hit for the first 60 days? And it was quite big goal. And he did literally more than double that goal. What he did is we gave him some tasks, like what to do. And I remember he was like, but that's not going to work. I've never done that. I don't feel good about doing that, because I don't believe that those people will like that. So specifically, we gave him a chat script and we gave him some copy to do, and then follow a specific chat script and say, but they will not answer. They will feel like I'm invading them. They will feel like he had so many emotions about why this will not work, and I really don't want to do it. But he did exactly what you said. He trusted the process, and he needed to lean into that. We had it figured out, the logical part, and he needed to trust it. So even though he was not comfortable doing it, he did it. And do you remember him coming back after a week when he's been chatting and following the script, and he was just like so happy. It's like, oh my God, it was the best feeling ever. They loved it. And I would never have done that, because they literally loved it. I'm never going to do it any other way. I love this because it was so different than what he feared it would be.
Yeah, the main point of that, and I'm going to add to that story that you don't know, so this is going to be exciting for you and you who listens. But because the thing that he was so excited about was that he really got across with the service that he intended.
Yeah.
So the intentions, great, biggest heart. He wanted the right thing for his people. but he couldn't see, how can I place my heart into this as I'm doing it? But it's impossible. It's kind of like figuring out traveling from, again, back to the car metaphor, traveling from your house to the grocery store and you not starting the engine until you know that all the traffic lights from your home to the grocery stores are going to be green before you start. When we have a situation, we can apply ourselves to that situation. Before there is a situation, before there is anything, then it's just ghosts. And the thing that I would like to add, because now I had a call with him last week, and now he said that I really love this thing, talking about this thing. And then I added to his strategy, and what I said, this is what I would like you to do next in order to just keep influencing your people. And then I added to that strategy with just being closer to more people, touching more people's hearts, connecting with more people. And exactly the same objection came up again. Yeah. But if I do that, I feel that they are going to feel that I'm trying to sell them stuff and I'm not going to do it right by them. So now when he does it this time, he is in the same place as before when he tried the first thing that we sent him. And this is almost a half year later. And it's just adding to when it is unknown to us, when it feels uncomfortable, it's not a reason to push it away. When our emotions kicks in and it becomes like, oh shit, this feels scary. It's just a sign of fear. And the fear process is completely natural. So take that fear by the hand and just take that step anyway. Because you can fear going into something, but standing in it, it's so much easier to navigate. Yeah. Hypothetically, you can't solve a problem. When you have a problem, you're always going to solve it. And if you who listens to this doesn't trust that, look into your life and see how many problems along your life never got solved. Like they get solved because the moment they're in your face, you take care of them. And you are capable when it comes to confidence and when it comes to self-esteem and really trusting that I can do this. That's one of the biggest things. And in that case, when it comes to, you will be able to deal with any problems that comes your way because you won't be able to create a problem that is far beyond your level anyway.
On that note, if you like this episode, make sure you subscribe and follow us on our Instagram to get more free resources. And we'll see you next week.
And please comment and write what you took away from today. But more importantly, is there any other subjects that you would like us to talk about? Let us know and we'll put it into our schedule and it will come in a new episode every Wednesday morning. Until we meet again, take care, guys. Bye-bye.